The mind is its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. John Milton. You wake up in the same room, under the same ceiling, yet what greets you is not the freshness of a new day. It is the echo of an identity you have rehearsed for years. This old self is not a villain outside you. It is a program that runs silently, etched into your body's chemistry, woven into your nervous system. It whispers before you even take your first breath of the morning. Today will be like yesterday. Pause here. Notice how your chest feels as you imagine that. Is there a tightening, a subtle weight? That sensation is not random. It is the signal of your practiced identity preparing to broadcast the same frequency again. The body has become a transmitter, a radio that has not changed its dial in years. And so the same static keeps filling your reality. But reality, in quantum terms, is never fixed. It is fluid, waiting to be tuned. The waves of possibility exist like a vast cosmic symphony. Yet if you keep your tuner locked on the channel of fear, doubt, or regret, all you will hear is distortion. Your old self is that distortion not because it is malicious, but because it is familiar. Predictable pain once felt safer than unpredictable joy. Ask yourself now, what soundtrack has your identity been playing? Does it sound like hesitation, like the restless hum of self-doubt? Or does it feel like an endless rerun of anxieties that were written long ago? When you see this clearly, something remarkable happens. The observer within you awakens. The very act of noticing interrupts the loop. Take a slow breath. Inhale deeply, hold, exhale gently. As you breathe, picture yourself standing in front of two radios. One is blaring static that is the voice of your old self. The other is silent, waiting for your hand to adjust the dial. Which will you choose to listen to now? This is the threshold moment. It is not about bulldozing your history. It is about recognizing the weight you have been carrying. That recognition alone cracks open a door, because the instant you become aware that the old self is just a signal, you stop being the signal. You become the witness who can shift it. Think of this shift as stepping from a dim hallway into a room filled with light. The walls are the same, the floor is the same, yet your perception changes everything. You begin to see details you never noticed. Textures, shadows, patterns. Awareness transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. Now, here is the invitation. Before you move further, let your body give you one clue. Close your eyes for a brief moment and ask, what is the most common emotion you wake up with? Is it worry? Is it resignation? Is it quiet frustration? Name it silently. That name is the frequency your old self has been broadcasting. And with that simple act of naming, you loosen its grip. You have not destroyed it, nor must you. You have merely pulled the plug on the illusion that it is who you are. The static fades a little. The symphony of possibility stirs faintly in the background. This is where the journey begins. Not with chasing a future, not with reciting affirmations, but with one subtle act of witness. You stand at the threshold between repetition and creation, between static and song. All that is required now is the willingness to notice, to breathe, and to listen again. Imagine for a moment that every thought you generate is like an electrical spark, and every emotion you feel radiates as a magnetic pulse. Together, these two forces weave into a field, a signature you are constantly broadcasting into the invisible fabric of reality. This is not an abstract metaphor. It is physics describing how your body and mind interact with the quantum field. Think about how your brain operates. When you are stressed or anxious, your nervous system defaults to survival. The amygdala, your fear center, fires rapidly, while the prefrontal cortex, the seat of conscious choice, goes dim. In this state, your broadcast becomes chaotic. Your inner radio is stuck between stations, sending static into the field, and the universe mirrors that static back to you, not as punishment, but as resonance. Now contrast that with moments of calm. When you are grateful or at peace, your brain waves slow, your prefrontal cortex lights up, your breathing deepens, and the electromagnetic field around your heart expands in coherence. Research from the HeartMath Institute shows that this heart-generated field extends several feet beyond your body. It becomes an invisible song others can feel, even if they cannot explain it. So ask yourself, what station have you been tuning to most often? A field shaped by worry creates more experiences that confirm worry. A field woven with gratitude invites coherence, drawing synchronicities, opportunities, and subtle nudges toward expansion. The signal is precise. The field does not negotiate. It simply reflects. Let's ground this with a story. Picture someone raised in scarcity, always bracing for the next bill, the next rejection, the next disappointment. Their conscious mind repeats affirmations about abundance, yet each time a challenge arises, their chest tightens, their breath shortens, cortisol floods their body. That broadcast of scarcity is what the field receives. The affirmation is like a whisper drowned out by static. No matter how sincere their intentions, the nervous system remains out of sync. Now imagine the opposite. Someone pauses before reacting. They place a hand on their chest, breathe deeply, and call up a feeling of appreciation, not for what they hope to manifest, but for something simple, like the softness of morning light. In that moment, their field reorganizes. Their body moves out of survival into coherence. That single act shifts the signature, and in doing so, they invite the universe to mirror back alignment. This is not magical thinking, it is energetic mechanics. The broadcast is not what you say you want, but who you are being consistently. The mismatch is where most frustration lies. You may declare, "I am ready for love," but if the current beneath your words is, "I am not enough," the field responds to the current, not the declaration. Take another breath now. Inhale slowly, exhale gently. Imagine your thoughts sparking as electric currents, your emotions radiating as magnetic waves. Together they form a signature like a fingerprint made of light. No two are alike. The universe listens not to your wish list, but to that fingerprint. The anatomy of your broadcast is simple yet profound. Thoughts without emotion are weak signals. Emotions without thought are scattered energy. But when mind and heart align, you create coherence. That coherence is the clear, unwavering tone that cuts through static, the kind of signal that collapses possibilities into tangible form. So here is the practice. Notice what your body is broadcasting before you speak your desires. Feel into the state beneath your words. Ask, does this vibration carry static, or does it ring with clarity? This awareness alone recalibrates the station. And with each recalibration, your future begins to bend toward coherence. Stand in front of a mirror and raise your hand. The reflection does not hesitate. It rises instantly, precisely matching your movement. Now imagine asking the reflection to go first. You wait, staring, but nothing happens. This is the paradox of manifestation. The field mirrors you, not your words, not your wishes, but your state of being. Quantum physics calls this the observer effect. Infinite possibilities exist as waves until you look, until you embody a stance, until you carry a frequency. Observation collapses possibility into form, yet what often goes unnoticed is this. The quality of the observer determines the quality of the collapse. It is not just that you are looking, it is who you are when you look. Your old self looks through a filter of doubt and survival. That gaze collapses the wave into more of the same. But when you step into the role of witness, steady, open, coherent, the field responds with equal clarity. You do not pull the future toward you. You tune into it, like a dial finding a frequency that was always broadcasting. Let's make this concrete. Imagine you are trying to manifest connection. Your mind visualizes a partner, but your body hums with loneliness. The mirror reflects loneliness, not because you are unworthy, but because the field responds faithfully to your broadcast. Now imagine instead generating a feeling of warmth, gratitude, and openness before you visualize. The mirror shifts. The reflection changes, not because you demanded it, but because you became it. This is why naming the old self is powerful. Give that identity a label: the warrior, the skeptic, the one who braces. By naming it, you step out of fusion with it. You begin to see it as a program, not as you. Then, as the witness, you can observe without merging. And observation, in the language of both mystics and scientists, is creation. Pause for a breath here. Inhale, hold, exhale. Feel the difference between being trapped inside the story and watching it play across a screen. When you are inside it, you are powerless. When you watch, you choose whether to keep playing it or to let the scene dissolve. Think of the mirror not as a piece of glass, but as the entire quantum field. It is exact, precise, and neutral. It does not punish or reward. It reflects. And that reflection is always an invitation. If you do not like what you see, the answer is not to smash the mirror or scold it for showing static. The answer is to shift who is standing before it. So, here is your practice for this stage. Stand quietly, close your eyes, and imagine your current broadcast as a reflection. Ask yourself, does the image before me feel heavy or light? Contracted or expansive? If it feels heavy, whisper the name you gave your old self. Acknowledge it, and then step back. Feel the distance. You are no longer the reflection. You are the one choosing what image appears. This is the paradox that frees you. You are not manifesting by force. You are selecting by alignment. And when your alignment shifts, the mirror of reality cannot help but respond. Close your eyes for a moment and picture yourself carrying a suitcase. It's heavy, awkward, and full of memories, disappointments, and old beliefs. You've grown so used to the weight that you hardly notice it anymore. But every step feels slower, every breath feels shallower. This is the old self, packed tight in a container you drag through every day. Now imagine stopping. Place the suitcase on the ground. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breath deepen. Feel the release in your body as the weight no longer pulls at you. This simple visualization is more than imagination. It is an energetic rehearsal, a signal to your nervous system that it can stop clinging to the familiar. A ceremony of release does not require fire, chants, or elaborate rituals, though it can, if that resonates. At its essence, release is permission. Permission to acknowledge the old program and to retire it with gratitude. Not destruction, not rejection, but a loving farewell. Like setting down an old coat that kept you warm in a storm, but now stifles you in the Sunday. Phase 1. Recognition. Say quietly to yourself, I see you. Speak to the version of you that worried, that doubted, that braced for rejection. Recognition is compassion. Without it, the old self fights harder to stay. Phase 2. Gratitude. Whisper. Thank you for protecting me when I needed you. This soft acknowledgement diffuses resistance. It honors the survival function without letting it dictate your destiny. Phase 3. Release. Inhale deeply. As you exhale, picture yourself unhooking chains from your chest, your back, your legs. Let them drop with the sound of the breath leaving your body. Each chain carries an old story. I'm not enough. I must play small. I'll always be disappointed. With every exhale, the chain falls away. Phase 4. Turning. See yourself step forward, leaving the suitcase, the chains, the mask behind. The ground feels lighter. The air feels clearer. You are not abandoning a part of yourself. You are simply refusing to let an outdated program steer your present. Take a breath now. Inhale, exhale slowly. Notice the space that opens when the weight is gone. That space is not emptiness, it is potential. The quantum field responds instantly to openings. When you release, you create a vacuum, and the field, like nature, fills it with coherence, with possibilities that match your new state. Imagine standing at the edge of a river. Behind you, the suitcase drifts downstream, carried away gently. Ahead of you, the water sparkles with light, currents of new timelines weaving and dancing. Which direction do you face? The choice is yours, and the ceremony marks the moment of turning. Some days, the old self may try to return, whispering its familiar doubts. When it does, you don't need to battle it. Simply repeat the ceremony in miniature. Name it, thank it, breathe it out, turn forward. With repetition, your nervous system rewires. The new pathway strengthens, the old one fades. This is the grace of the release ritual. It transforms struggle into surrender. You are not fighting yourself. You are guiding yourself home. Think of your mind and body as a living circuit board. Every belief you've repeated, every reaction you've rehearsed, every posture you've held has carved pathways into that board. Over years, those grooves have become automatic. This is why change feels hard. You are not only shifting ideas, you are rewiring circuitry that has been running in the background like old software. The good news? Circuits can be updated. Neural pathways that no longer serve you can fade through disuse, while new ones strengthen with repetition. Neuroscience calls this neuroplasticity, but for you it is simply the art of becoming. Every breath, every posture, every small action is either feeding the old program or energizing the new one. Start with the body. Notice how your old self sits, stands, and moves. Maybe shoulders cave inward, breath stays shallow, voice tightens in the throat. These are not random. They are physical imprints of your practiced identity. Now, imagine how your future self, the one already aligned with the life you dream of, would carry themselves. Shoulders back, breath slow and deep, voice calm yet steady. When you embody those micro shifts, you are teaching your nervous system a new baseline. Breath work is one of the fastest tools for rewiring. A simple 3-part practice. Inhale fully through the nose, hold for a gentle pause, then exhale twice as long through the mouth. Repeat 3 times. This slows the survival system and signals safety. The more you practice, the more your body learns that peace is the new normal, not fear. Micro actions are equally powerful. Imagine your old self hesitating to speak up in a meeting or shrinking back from an opportunity. Instead of waiting for confidence to arrive, embody it in a small choice. Straighten your posture before speaking. Smile before dialing the phone. Walk into a room as though you belong because you do. These micro actions may feel small, but to your nervous system they are quantum leaps. Think of it this way. Your old operating system thrives on loops of "what if I fail?" The new system thrives on "what if I expand?" Each time you act from expansion, you lay another wire, another pathway, another groove that makes the future self easier to access tomorrow. Here's a practice you can try today. Write down 3 identity anchors that describe your future self. For example, I move with calm confidence. I speak with clarity. I breathe deeply under pressure. Then, choose one to embody deliberately for a single day. Do not wait for life to hand you the perfect moment. Practice it in ordinary tasks, walking to the store, answering an email, brushing your teeth. Identity is not built in grand declarations, it is built in repetition. Over time, the chemistry of your body changes, hormones shift, neurotransmitters adapt, muscles learn a new rhythm. You are literally teaching every cell to respond from alignment rather than survival. This is not just psychological, it is physiological transformation. Pause here. Take a deep breath. Notice your current posture. Without judgment, adjust it toward the stance of your future self. Feel the difference instantly. That sensation is not imaginary. It is evidence that your operating system is updating in real time. Rewiring does not happen overnight, but it does happen consistently. Each choice is a vote for the new self. Each breath is a message to your nervous system. This is who I am now. And as the board rewires, the broadcast you send into the quantum field becomes clearer, more coherent, and more magnetic. When you first begin to shift your frequency, the signs can be subtle. A sense of lightness upon waking, a sudden calm in a moment that once would have triggered you. These are not random. They are indicators that your nervous system is stabilizing into a new baseline. The old self may still whisper, but its grip weakens. Stabilization is the phase where the new identity stops being an occasional glimpse and starts becoming a lived reality. Imagine a tuning fork. Strike it once and the sound fades quickly. Strike it repeatedly and the vibration strengthens, resonating longer and clearer. Each time you choose coherence over chaos, gratitude over fear, you strike the fork of your new self. Eventually, the hum of that identity fills the space of your life. This stabilization brings with it a phenomenon that mystics and physicists alike have observed. Synchronicity, non-local correlations, meaningful coincidences, small winks from the field. You think of someone and they message you. You take a different route home and it leads you to exactly what you needed. These are not accidents. They are the universe reflecting your coherent broadcast. Here's the key. Synchronicities are not just curiosities to collect, they are feedback loops. They confirm that your new broadcast is being received. But beware of the trap of chasing them. If you become obsessed with spotting signs, you slip back into grasping, which reintroduces static into the field. Instead, treat them like road markers. Smile, acknowledge, and keep walking. Pause for a breath. Inhale deeply, exhale slowly. Think back on the last week. Were there any small alignments you almost dismissed? That moment you avoided a delay by seconds. That time someone showed up with exactly what you were thinking of. These micro-events are proof that stabilization has begun. Yet stabilization also reveals contrast. Some relationships may start to feel misaligned. People who resonated with your old frequency may distance themselves. This is natural. A new signal attracts a new tribe. Do not confuse their discomfort with your mistake. When light grows brighter, shadows shift. Let those who no longer resonate drift without resentment. Momentum builds as you continue. One synchronicity leads to another. One aligned choice opens a doorway to opportunities you once overlooked. What once felt like struggle begins to feel like flow. The river carries you forward, not because it has changed, but because you have finally learned how to float. To stabilize further, create a simple daily ritual of acknowledgement. Each night, write down one instance where life seemed to line up effortlessly, however small. This anchors your nervous system in the new reality. Over time, your focus shifts from noticing problems to celebrating coherence. Stabilization is not perfection. Old patterns may still surface, but instead of being storms that knock you down, they become ripples on a calm sea. You observe them, breathe through them, and return to resonance. That ability to return quickly, gently, consistently is the mark of stabilization. And as synchronicities accumulate, something else begins to happen. Trust deepens, not blind faith, but lived evidence that the field responds faithfully to your vibration. Each alignment whispers, "Yes, you are tuned correctly. Keep going." So let this sink in. Stabilization is not the end of the journey, it is the foundation. Synchronicity is not the prize, it is the proof. Together, they mark the moment when you stop chasing reality and reality starts meeting you halfway. Change is not a single leap, it is a rhythm. Some days you feel clear, alive, aligned. Other days, the old frequency tries to pull you back into familiar loops. This is not failure. It is integration. Maintenance is the art of returning gently and consistently until your new identity becomes second nature. Think of it like walking through a forest. The old path has been trampled for years, smooth and easy to follow. The new path is fresh, narrow, and still overgrown. At first, your feet naturally veer toward the familiar trail, but each time you choose the new path, the ground clears a little more. Eventually, the old trail grows wild with disuse, and the new one becomes the natural way forward. On integration days, when fear or doubt resurfaces, remember, this is not regression. It is your nervous system detoxing from its chemical addiction to the old self. The adrenaline, the cortisol, the shallow breath. These are just echoes of who you were. Instead of fighting them, observe them with compassion. Whisper to yourself, "This is just old energy leaving my body. This is not who I am now." Breath is your anchor here. One simple technique: 4 counts in, hold for 4, exhale for 6, pause for 2, repeat. This pattern resets your nervous system, signaling safety and reminding your body of its new baseline. Use it when old emotions surge, when conversations trigger you, or when doubt feels loud. Compassion is your ally. Many people abandon transformation because they mistake discomfort for failure. But discomfort is proof that the old circuitry is unraveling. Instead of self-criticism, offer yourself the gentleness you once reserved only for others. Place a hand over your heart, breathe deeply, and affirm, "I am learning, I am rewiring, I am free to begin again." Maintenance also requires ritual, small, consistent practices that keep your frequency tuned. A morning check-in. Which version of me will create my reality today? An evening gratitude list. Not for what you want, but for evidence of coherence you already experienced. These rituals do not take long, but they train your system to expect alignment. Boundaries are another piece of maintenance. As you stabilize, you may notice that certain environments, conversations, or habits pull you back into old vibrations. Maintenance means saying no with love. Not rejection, but recognition. That no longer resonates with who I am becoming. Each boundary strengthens your field, keeping it clear and coherent. Pause here. Inhale, exhale. Recall a moment when you slipped into an old pattern recently. Now, imagine rewinding that moment. Instead of reacting, see yourself breathing, observing, choosing differently. That simple visualization plants a seed. Next time, your body will remember the option. Maintenance is not glamorous. It is not about dramatic breakthroughs. It is about daily alignment. Small returns, gentle course corrections. Yet it is these steady practices that turn temporary transformation into lasting identity. So let this be your takeaway. The old self may visit, but it no longer lives here. Your maintenance protocols, breath, compassion, ritual, and boundaries ensure that when the past knocks, you recognize it as a guest, not as the host. And with each choice, you reinforce the truth. You are already living as the new frequency. As your frequency shifts, the geometry of your social world rearranges. Some people draw closer, magnetized by the coherence you radiate. Others drift away, unsettled by the change. This isn't cruelty, nor rejection. It is resonance. Every relationship is an exchange of frequencies, and when one signal changes, the whole pattern reorganizes. Think of your social circle as a constellation. The old you, aligned with certain stars, friends who resonated with survival, colleagues who thrived in drama, companions who confirmed limitation. As you rise into coherence, those alignments bend. Some stars remain, shining brighter in harmony with your new light. Others fade from view, not because they are wrong, but because their orbit no longer matches yours. This transition can feel both liberating and lonely. You may notice that conversations which once felt comfortable now feel heavy, or that people you used to lean on resist your growth. Understand this. Your frequency is not betraying them, it is inviting them. They may not be ready to accept the invitation. That is their path. Yours is to walk in authenticity without dimming your light. Pause for a breath. Inhale deeply, exhale softly. Think of someone who has naturally drifted as you've changed. Instead of resentment, send gratitude. Their role was part of your old geometry, and now your constellation is being redrawn. Boundaries become essential here, not walls of rejection, but gates of clarity. When old conversations spiral into negativity, you can gently redirect or quietly exit. You do not need to argue. The field is already speaking louder than words. Your presence teaches more than persuasion ever could. At the same time, new alignments emerge. You begin to meet people who reflect the frequency you are stabilizing into. They may appear as mentors, collaborators, or companions who encourage your expansion. Notice how their energy feels different, lighter, cleaner, aligned. This is the universe rearranging your social geometry to support the new broadcast. Here's a practice. Imagine yourself as a tuning fork. Those who resonate with your frequency will vibrate with you. Those who do not will remain still or may vibrate discordantly. Neither response is good or bad. It is simply resonance. Your task is not to force vibration, but to stay true to your tone. Microscripts can help in moments of social tension. Instead of defending your changes, try phrases like, "This is what feels aligned for me right now," or "I hear you and I'm choosing differently." Short, clear, and kind. These phrases protect your vibration without creating conflict. Over time, you will notice a new tribe forming. People who see you, not for who you were, but for who you are becoming. These relationships feel effortless, nourishing, alive. They do not drain your energy, they amplify it. And together, you form a field larger than any individual, a shared resonance that uplifts everyone within it. So when relationships shift, remember, It is not loss, it is physics. Geometry is dynamic. Constellations change, and your new pattern is emerging, star by star, aligned with the frequency you now embody. Up until now, you have been learning to shift, to stabilize, to maintain. But transformation becomes truly powerful when it gathers momentum. Momentum is not force. It is the accumulation of choices, breaths, and embodied states that weave together into a rhythm so steady that reality begins to reorganize around you automatically. Picture a wheel. At first, it takes effort to push. Every new choice, the deeper breath, the clear boundary, the loving self-talk feels like exertion, but each push adds energy. Soon, the wheel turns more easily. Eventually, it spins with its own weight, carrying itself forward. This is momentum. The old self may still whisper, but its voice becomes drowned out by the rhythm of the new. How do you measure this momentum? Not with numbers or rigid goals. Metrics belong to the old paradigm of striving. Instead, you measure by signs of flow, synchronicities appearing more frequently, inner calm returning more quickly, decisions feeling lighter. These are not coincidences. They are evidence that momentum has built a current under your feet. Pause for a breath. Inhale deeply, exhale gently. Reflect. In the last few weeks, how quickly have you been able to return to alignment when triggered? That speed of return is a clearer sign of progress than any external marker. Momentum also changes the way you approach challenges. Before, obstacles felt like walls. With momentum, they feel like stepping stones. You meet resistance with curiosity instead of fear. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to deepen the groove of your new identity, reinforcing the circuitry rather than disrupting it. Here's a practical way to accelerate momentum. Ritualize your wins. Each time you notice yourself choosing from alignment, mark it. It could be as simple as writing it down, speaking it aloud, or placing a hand on your heart and acknowledging, "That was me as my new self." These acknowledgements stack like bricks, building a foundation that supports the momentum of your becoming. Momentum is also collective. As your frequency stabilizes, others around you begin to notice. Some will say, "You seem different." They may not know why, but they feel your coherence. This feedback is more than validation. It is the field confirming your new signature. The resonance spreads outward, touching family, friends, even strangers. Imagine dropping a pebble into a still pond. At first, the ripples are small. With each new choice, you drop another pebble. Eventually, the entire surface shimmers with overlapping waves. That is momentum, not isolated change, but expanding influence. And here is the paradox. The more momentum builds, the less effort is required. You stop trying to fix yourself. You stop chasing signs. You start living as the frequency naturally, without forcing it. The practice becomes the lifestyle becomes the identity, and the identity becomes the reality. Momentum is the bridge between glimpsing transformation and inhabiting it fully. It is the phase where becoming stops being an exercise and starts being who you are. And once the wheel is spinning, the only task left is to stay in flow, to let the current carry you forward. Every journey needs a moment of sealing, a moment where practice turns into proclamation. Not a proclamation to the outside world, but to the field, to your cells, to your own soul. This is where the fragments of your becoming merge into a living declaration. Pause. Inhale deeply, exhale slowly. Now imagine yourself standing in the center of a vast open space. The sky above is endless. the ground beneath steady. In front of you is the old suitcase you once carried. Behind you is the path you've walked, lined with every breath, every choice, every moment of coherence you've practiced. Around you hums the quantum field, alive, attentive, waiting. The declaration is not about words alone, it is embodiment. Feel your shoulders drop as if you've laid down centuries of weight. Let your spine rise tall, as if it is remembering its true design. Breathe into your chest and sense your heart radiating outward, broadcasting a new signature that ripples into the unseen. Now, in this embodied state, speak to yourself, I no longer create from who I was. I am tuned to who I truly am. Let the words vibrate through your body. They are not affirmations to convince the mind. They are frequencies to anchor the field. This is the daily practice of becoming not a checklist, but a declaration that lives in you. Each time the old self whispers, you answer not with resistance, but with resonance. Each time fear arises, you exhale and remember, that was me, but it is not me now. The declaration keeps you aligned, not through struggle, but through remembrance. Picture your future self standing before you, not distant, not unreachable, but here. They smile, not because you are on the way, but because you have arrived. You and they are no longer separate. The declaration closes the gap. Pause again. Place a hand over your heart. Feel the rhythm beneath your palm. That pulse is your body's way of declaring, I am alive, I am here, I am becoming. No matter what happens outside, this rhythm is your proof. It is coherence in motion. From this day forward, your declaration is not just something you say, it is something you are. It is in your breath, in your posture, in your choices, in your frequency. And every moment you embody it, the mirror of reality cannot help but reflect it back. This is the living declaration, a truth carried not in ink or sound, but in vibration, a signal to the field, a promise to yourself, and an invitation to the universe. I am ready, I am aligned, I am free.